Okay, geometry, the first warm-up question is just making sure that you can read the notation. So this M stands for the measure of angle A. We go over here to angle A. Angle A is 65 degrees. All right. The measure of angle B, here's angle B. That little box means that is a 90-degree angle. 90 degrees. The measure of angle C, here's angle C. That one is 25 degrees. All right, so hopefully that's not too bad. Over here, there's two letters. So those are the endpoints. That is a side length. So the side length from A to B, well, that's 5. All right. Right here, the side length from B to C. From B to C, I'm going to highlight that in red. From B to C, that is 12. All right, and lastly, from A to C, I'm going to highlight that in purple. From A to C, that's looking like the hypotenuse, that is 13. So that's just making sure that you can understand the notation. The measure of angle and two letters means the endpoints of a side length. Okay, this next example is what we learned yesterday. How to use a similarity statement to find corresponding parts so that we can set up a proportion to solve for x. Similar figures are proportional, so we can set up a proportion. For our first ratio, we need a pair of corresponding sides that are both given. So I'm going to look at my similarity statement. I am going to focus on 15 right here from V to O. Okay, that is the second and third letter, so that is going to correspond with B to C on the other triangle. From B to C is 9. Those are corresponding sides. They are both given, so that will be my first ratio, 15 over 9. Now, I have chosen to go big on top and small on the bottom. So there is the first ratio of my proportion. That means both ratios have to have the big figure on top and the small figure on the bottom. Now we're going to look for the variable. My variable is right here, x. Oops. All right. That is on the bigger figure. So x has to go on top. Now, x is between the L and the O. So the L and the O is the first and the second letters. So we go over here and we find the first and second letters. That is A to B. So A to B corresponds with L to O. So that is my second ratio. X is on top. X corresponds with 6. So 6 is on the bottom. Now we're ready to cross multiply. You can either do the shortcut, 15 times 6, and divide it by 9. Or if you like the long way, we can cross multiply. 9x is equal to 15 times 9, which is 90. And then to undo that multiplication right there, we divide both sides by 9. And we get x is equal to 10. All right. Okay, last review warm-up example. Again, we are going to use this similarity statement to help us answer these questions. So, the measure of angle E. Well, angle E in the similarity statement is right here. It's the last letter. So we go to the last letter over here. So angle E corresponds with angle P. Angle P is 113 degrees. Because these are similar figures, corresponding angles are exactly the same. Those are congruent. So angle E is 113 degrees because it matches angle P. Okay, the next one, the measure of angle Q. So if we go up to our similarity statement, Q is the first one listed over here. So now we go over here and we find the first one, Q matches, it's in the same spot as A. So angle A is 112 degrees and angle Q corresponds, so angle Q is 112 degrees. Okay, so just using the corresponding order. Angle E corresponds with angle P. Those have to be the same, and angle Q corresponds with A. Now, to find the ratio of the big to the small, we need to find a pair of corresponding sides. So I'm going to look at 15. This is one given side. 15 is between the E and the A. That's the first and the last. The first and the last corresponds with the first and the last over here. So let's go over and find Q to P. Well, Q to P is right here. That is a pair of corresponding sides. This is the big figure. This is the small figure. So that is our ratio. 15 corresponds with 10. You can also reduce it to 3 over 2. Okay, now we have to find side length BC. I'm going to highlight that in blue right here, B to C. We don't know that side length, but since they are similar, we can set up a proportion. We already have our first ratio, a pair of corresponding sides that are both given. So we bring that down, 15 over 10 is equal to, now again, we're going big to small. Side length BC has to be on the top. I'm just going to put that right here, B to C. Now let's find out what B to C corresponds with. Up on our similarity statement, BC is right here. It is the second and the third letter. So over here, the second and third letter is LM. So let's go and find LM on the smaller figure. LM is right here. So LM is 8. B to C corresponds with L to M. So we would put side BC over 8. This is our proportion. Now when you cross multiply, go ahead, stop the video and cross multiply, and then check your answer. You should get BC is 12. Okay, part E, we need to find side length CD. Okay, side length CD is right here on the big figure. I'm highlighting it in green. All right, it is also the third and the fourth letters right here. So if we go over here and find the third and fourth letters, it is M and N. So let's find M and N right here on the smaller figure, M to N. M to N is 14. So C to D corresponds with M to N. So for our first ratio in our proportion, we're going to use our good old pair of corresponding sides that are both given. So we bring that down, 15 over 10. Again, we're still going big to small. So now we have to put CD on top. So CD is on top. CD in the big figure corresponds with MN in the smaller figure. So we put 14 on the bottom. Now we're ready to cross multiply. Stop the video, try it on your own, and then come back and check your answer. You should get 21. All right, last one. Try NP on your own. You're going to set up a proportion. Your first ratio to find NP will, of course, be good old 15 over 10. All right, stop the video. Try it on your own. Set up this proportion, cross multiply, and solve. Okay, NP. NP is the last two letters, and that corresponds with DE. So NP corresponds with DE. So if we're going big to small, NP is the smaller figure, so that goes on the bottom. NP corresponds with DE, so we put the 9 on top. And when we cross multiply, we will get 6. Okay, now for some brand new information. Today's lesson is about dilations. A dilation is a transformation. Remember, a transformation simply means a movement. Remember the transformations we did back in Unit 2? We did reflections, rotations, and translations. Now we're going to do dilations. A dilation is a transformation that changes the size of a figure, but not its shape. Stop the video and make sure you have that down. All right, dilations create similar, oops, can't spell similar today evidently. Dilations create similar images, not congruent. All right, remember in similar figure, the corresponding angles are congruent and sides are proportional. All right, remember, proportional means that they have the same ratio. Corresponding sides have the same ratio. All right, this concludes the video for side 1. Find the video for side 2. See you soon.